Welcome to Evolution by Philip Malika. You can find me at philipmalika.substack.com. Today's column is entitled UFOs, UAPs, Extraterrestrials, and Aliens. Are these visitors interdimensional? I have not personally witnessed any of the current crop of drones. As of this writing, I am not aware that there has been a definitive identification of what people have been seeing up and down the east coast of the U.S. Last I knew, everything that has been offered has been speculation. The federal government has only said they don't know what they are. What I do know is that there are reports from all over the world of these types of sightings, not only in the U.S. So once again, my CYA that I will state here is that if these craft turn out to be domestic, meaning Earth-based, then what I am offering here will not apply. If these are part of a larger PSYOP, then shame on the perpetrators. We have all learned to be extremely cynical after being lied to so much for so long by our authorities. We will need to suspend that cynicism here to consider that this event is exactly as it appears. Multiple sightings of unidentified aircraft. And even if these sightings are of domestic origin, there are others that are not. So this essay will be addressing to those sightings of objects that are not Earth-based, of which there are many. So let's assume for a moment that, gasp, our government is telling the truth, and they really don't know what they are or what to do about them. Let us further assume that at least some of these sightings represent interdimensional visitors. This circumstance offers a great stepping-off point for a new paradigm, if that is truly what this represents. Let's explore together various ideas that could point to this as being a truly extraordinary event. First of all, let's define interdimensional visitor. This requires a further differentiation. There are extraterrestrials and there are aliens. Extraterrestrials represent beings from other areas of our known universe. The character in the movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial is an example of this. E.T. is flesh and blood, or at very least, is made up of matter like any other physical object within this dimension. An extraterrestrial would therefore be subject to the same laws of physics that we are, such as gravity and time. They are not interdimensional, meaning they are based in this dimension. In order for them to physically visit our planet, they would have to travel in some sort of spaceship or by some other means from their location to our location. This is not happening currently. There are no extraterrestrial races physically visiting our planet in this time frame. Physical form is still limited by gravity and time constraints. Physical bodies cannot travel at light speed, which would be required in order to physically travel through space, Star Trek notwithstanding. A note, our consciousness can travel throughout our universe, and is actually even faster than light speed. But that is another subject altogether, which we will broach at another time. Otherwise, we don't understand outer space and our universe for what it is. Our perception of it is rudimentary at best. When we peer out into space, we really don't know what we're looking at. Therefore, our scientific explanations are myopic and oversimplified. But back to E.T. Any informed and self-respecting extraterrestrial would not even entertain the idea of visiting Earth at this time. Humanity is dangerous. We can't even get along with each other, much less a being from another planet. We fear what we don't understand. And our answer to such things is to shoot now and ask questions later. And we still think the scientific method to understanding life is to kill it and dissect it. That doesn't bode well for our prospective extraterrestrial visitor. However, extraterrestrials do exist in other parts of our universe, in our dimension. But contrary to our popular belief, they are not necessarily more advanced than we are in visiting us in their spaceships. And even if they could, they wouldn't if they were smart. So for our purposes, extraterrestrial is out of the question as an answer to our current sky phenomenon. The other possibility is interdimensional aliens. It sounds funny to even say it, and yet, here we are. The fact is that we have been witness to this phenomenon over and over again. I'm not making it up. I don't have to. There is overwhelming evidence that this has been occurring in different forms and fashions throughout our recorded history. David Grush testified to Congress that he believed this to be a possible answer to the phenomenon. Many other such experts have indicated similar sentiments. Funny how, at this point, nobody wants to even talk about it. Everything that they're coming up with is very Earth-based. In our current time frame, we have witness after witness and video recordings of such events. So let's define aliens as best we can. Aliens would be any being who is from another physical dimension than our own. I am not a quantum scientist, so I can't really explain how other dimensions work. But what I do know is that there are almost infinite other dimensions, some physical and some not. And that the physics or parameters of these other dimensions can vary wildly from our own. Basic functions that we take for granted, such as time, space, and gravity, can be, and often are, significantly different than our own. Each dimension has its own blueprint. That blueprint contains the parameters of each particular dimension. If we can imagine it, then there is probably a corresponding dimension to our imaginings. Many other physical dimensions occur side by side with ours within the same physical space. In other words, we are literally rubbing elbows with other dimensional beings that we are not aware of and cannot perceive through the use of our physical senses. And they, likely, are not aware of us. Now here's where it gets even weirder, if that is even possible. If you've read my columns, you know that I elaborate on our essence, our soul, so to speak, and how our essence creates hundreds, if not thousands of focuses, lives, such as our own that we are familiar with. Past, present, which would be concurrent, and future lives. Each of us has an essence. We share that essence with all of our other focuses. But our essence doesn't only create focuses within this physical dimension, our universe on Earth, but it can and does create focuses that inhabit other parts of our physical reality, our universe, our dimension, as what we would consider extraterrestrial. And essence can and does create focuses that exist in parallel dimensions to our own, and we would consider those, for the purposes of our discussion, aliens. What this means is that there are other us's, other focuses of our essence, our soul, that live as extraterrestrials in other parts of our universe, our dimension, as well as other us's that exist in dimensions that are parallel to this one, which would be considered aliens. We could be sitting right at this moment alongside a dozen other versions of ourselves, focuses, that exist in side-by-side dimensions to our own. These would be alien focuses of ours. We could also stare up into the stars and locate a star system that has a planet in it with another focus of ourselves on that planet looking back at us. This would be an extraterrestrial focus of ours. So that's the difference. Extraterrestrials are within our universe. Aliens inhabit other dimensions than our own. A note, and don't even get me started on probable realities of our current focus, this life, where every possible probability occurs, but we choose which one we are going to enact and make our official reality. Another time, another time. So, back to our other focuses. The essence that creates this current life, this focus of ours, also creates all of these other focuses that we would term as extraterrestrial or alien. So literally, all of the extraterrestrials and all of the aliens are actually other focuses of our collective essences. Or, to simplify the idea, they are other versions of ourselves. Now, let's spend a moment describing interdimensional travel. We are not limited to this particular dimension. We have the ability to move between dimensions. As an example, this is an exercise we often do in our dream time. And the same can be said for the us's that occupy other dimensions. But there is a hitch. Because each physical dimension has its own unique blueprint that lays out the physics of each dimension, form becomes critical. The physics of each dimension are unique to that dimension. A body in one dimension cannot simply move to another dimension while maintaining its form. The physics are incompatible. Therefore, a transformation must take place on a body that wishes to move from one dimension to another. A body must change to incorporate the camouflage, the physical attributes of the dimension it wishes to travel to. And even then, the transformation is temporary, meaning it can only be maintained for a limited amount of time before the camouflage of the transformation begins to deteriorate. If we were to go beyond that time frame in another dimension, we would die. And the same would be said for other dimensional aliens who come to ours. They cannot remain here indefinitely. Now, let's begin to apply this idea to the UFOs and UAPs that we have and are observing. It will begin to make sense that these objects have an almost ghost-like appearance, that they do not completely conform to our physics. To begin with, they have no heat signature. They have no discernible means of propulsion. They seem to appear and disappear at will. They accomplish physical maneuvers that would be impossible for any known physical body or aircraft, such as 90-degree turns and acceleration that would destroy a physical object based on gravitational forces. Their appearance, shape, and form seem to morph in ways that a physical object cannot. hopefully now it's beginning to make sense what these are. They are here and not here at the same time. They are in a form that is a combination of physics from their native dimension and our own. Sort of a hybrid form that has elements from two different dimensions: the dimension they are from and the dimension they are moving to. And here's an important point. What we see with our eyes is a translation of their actual form and identity. That is what we can perceive. But it is not necessarily what their form and or identity is in their native dimension. This is why bodies that have been recovered seem odd in appearance, and spacecraft won't resemble anything known. And one last piece of information regarding interdimensional travel. Our particular dimension's blueprint is somewhat unique in terms of other dimensions. For one thing, our dimension is in the process of shifting. We, meaning our collective, have chosen to implement new features into our blueprint. For example, we are widening our awareness to the point where we are beginning to recognize that we create all of our reality, individually and en masse. We have chosen to incorporate full awareness of ourselves as essence within our physical focus. This is why I and others refer to the shift as the remembrance. The implications of this are unmatched in the history of our planet and existence. It heralds a new kind of reality that will be not a utopia, but an experience of life that has never been known in this physical reality, this dimension. All of the knowledge and awareness of our essence, our soul, but in a physical form. This feat has never been attempted in all of consciousness, in all of time. The issue is the energetic requirement of the physical body. We are pushing a great deal more energy through our body consciousness. This is why we have to heal our bodies and our traumas and have a clean slate, so to speak, for our body consciousness, or the added energy could burn us out. In that case, we would not survive physically. Secondly, our dimension's blueprint or design is such that this dimension, ours, can be used by all consciousness everywhere in every dimension as a waypoint to convert energy from one-dimensional form to another to facilitate interdimensional travel. So not only do we have interdimensional visitors coming from their dimension to ours, we have beings using our dimension to convert their energy and form from their dimension to a compatible form for entry into dimensions other than our own. They may not even be aware that we exist here, as they use our dimension's capabilities to convert their form and physics to that of other unrelated dimensions. Not everything that happens is about us. So now let's put all this information together and apply it to our current situation. At least in some instances, other versions of us are traveling from their dimensions to ours to visit us. Their form is ghost-like and almost indeterminate as they convert their native form and energy to an energy and form that can exist temporarily within our dimension. They may or may not adhere to our physics in a way we would expect. This is why they don't seem to comply to our physics. They are not native to our dimension. They cannot stay here for long periods of time. Their camouflage transformation may not be an accurate representation of what they actually are in their own dimension. They cannot be controlled. They cannot be tracked. So now you can see that if this is all true, maybe our government knows enough about this to know that they do not have an explanation for what these are. They may know that there is little that they can do about it. These interdimensional visitors cannot be tracked, they cannot be controlled, they cannot be shot down. And without some sort of communication with them, the government cannot know what their intention is. I don't know why these would be showing up now. Remember, by and large, these are other versions, other focuses of ourselves. They are trying to appear to us and contact us. That means something. I think it has to do with us and the shift. If our government has studied them to the extent that they can, they know that if these are more like ghost images than physical objects and cannot be controlled and shot down, and seemingly they also cannot affect us physically and do not pose a threat. Do you want disclosure? Maybe you just got it. Maybe the government knows they're there, knows there's nothing that can be done about it, and knows that we all just need to get a grip and accept that this is how things are until we get more information. Maybe this is exactly what we've been waiting for an actual visitation from alien beings. We can't expect the government to give us information they don't have. And what exactly are they supposed to tell us? Some sweet little fairy tale to calm us? We're too smart for that. And if all of this is true, it changes everything that we thought we knew. Religion, science, physics, everything changes, and we are back to ground zero in our understanding of life on Earth. You know how in all the movies the government authority doesn't want to tell people the truth because they are afraid it will cause a panic? I think this is the situation we are in now. But the drones, the visitors, are not going away quietly. So if I were the government, what would I do? I think I would shut up and let people figure it out for themselves. What else is there to do, really? For myself, it is really exciting. It means that here is the evidence that there is much more to life, to Earth, to the universe, to existence, to consciousness than we have ever imagined before. How about that? Ready to have a real adventure? I am definitely down for that. It's about time. We have lived many, many lives throughout the history of our world. We have done just about everything there is to do on Earth as things were. Everything that we came to explore by having lives and experiences on planet Earth have been accomplished. As a collective, we are bored and ready for the next adventure. Well, here we go. What are you going to do with it? That is the only question remaining. Cheers to the next version of humans on planet Earth. We deserve some fun. This was a lot to write, and I know it's a lot to assimilate. Let me know if this makes sense to you and any thoughts you may have. Regards, and thanks for listening. See you next time.